Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Those Two Geeks. He's Alex. I'm Joe. We're doing this on a oddball Saturday night, but we do this for you because, well, we also like to do it.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna say, let's be honest, this one isn't as much for them as it is for us
yeah,
because we haven't spoken in a couple of weeks and we thought, we're gonna
well,
chat anyway. Let's just fucking record it instead.
exactly. And you're not 100% Alex right now. You've got, somewhat of the plague that's been going around
Oh,
everywhere. But
it, I have no idea. Like it, I mean, we spoke about it a bit off camera. I know one
mhm.
took you down a couple of weeks ago,
Oh,
but it
completely
has
wrecked
been,
me for the Rumble. Yeah.
yeah, it has been nasty. And I probably don't sound great. And I'm really interested to hear how I sound once I get this in the edit.
Hmm.
Uh, but I feel night and day compared to where I was, even like 4 or 5 days ago or so. I
Yeah,
had,
that's good.
it's one of those things. I'm on the mend. May not sound like I'm on the mend, but I'm in a significantly better place than I was. The the advantage is, and I know no one, or if anyone at work listens to this, then you're going to have a chuckle. I 100% use my throat to my advantage to get out of at least 2 meetings this week.
See, that's pretty smart.
I it was clear that the other person had nothing to say anyway, and we were going to have a call for the sake of having a call. So I hopped on
Yeah,
and said, "So if there's nothing, like, oh, you sound great." I'm like, "Oh, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, we can do this next week." Oh, yeah, great, great, great.
yeah. So like we were joking that I was gonna play the part of Cody and be like, so what do you want to talk about? But since you just mentioned that, yeah, work calls can be completely irrelevant. Like just before we jump into anything, I had a 2.5 hour conference call this week on the subject short communication. I was like,
Okay. Oh, wait,
doesn't
wait.
this defeat the purpose? Like, it's 2.5 hours and it's supposed to be about communicating shortly and sweetly. I was like, what the hell?
That is a beautifully ironic
Right?
moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Now, what we were going to talk about? I know we buried our plan lead into this because that's what
Yeah.
we do.
Hmm.
I we had we had wondered and speculated when it was first announced how much the maximum
Spidey.
Spider-Man, Marvel Legends Spider-Man would be, and I think you and
Hmm.
I
We hit it
expected.
right on the head. We
I
hit
was
it
gonna say
exactly nail on the head.
we were gonna say it would be around $50,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. And
And
all
I'm
right,
not surprised one
I'm not.
moment, like
Yeah, I'm
one
not
bit.
surprised in any way, shape, or form. I'm not surprised. I'm somewhat neutral to it. I think,
Yeah.
if I'm honest, like I don't think it's all right in terms of an action figure with those accessories.
Hmm.
I think it's too much.
I agree.
However, I'm comparing this to the Jada Toys Street Fighter line.
Right.
That that is my benchmark for price with what you get.
Right.
Which
Price fee value. Exactly.
exactly, yeah. So I think
Agreed.
figure per value, Jada
Yeah.
Toys is the gold standard right now.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly.
The figures cost me $25 Canadian
Hmm.
for Fei Long, M Bison. I think at one point they may have been. I think Guile was 30, but that doesn't surprise me because
Right.
he's a bit bigger, and I fully expect Balrog, Blanca,
Well,
etc.
they've
to be a
they've
bit
already
more.
said that like bigger characters will cost slightly more.
And I and
It's
I'm
not a one size fits all, which
no,
makes
and I'm
sense.
I'm fine with that. Like I'm
Yeah.
absolutely fine with that. I think if you have your base pricing and
Hmm.
then increase more based on weight, that makes sense. Now, the maximum Spidey, again, this is playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
The mold doesn't look brand new. I'm sure there's going to be new aspects to it.
Hmm.
The hands, I think, other than the just a plain web shooter hand, the forearm,
Right.
everything else looks like it could be reused.
See, I don't. I honestly think it is all new. It's slightly all
Okay,
new,
and
but
and if
even
I'm
so,
wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong with that.
right. No, this is The only problem is, like, I guessed the price. I'm
Yeah,
surprised a little bit it wasn't the 60 range. I thought it was gonna be, but I was like, "No, they're pushing the price on, like, what they can do." And 50, I knew was gonna be the middle ground. Do I think it's too much? Looking at the Spidey again and all the accessories, yes, I do. I think it should have been maxed out at 40 bucks. I would have been fine. I think a ton of people would have been fine, but they knew they could get 50, so they pushed
yeah.
50. Problem is when Hulk comes around, if Spidey's 50, Hulk is most definitely going to be 70 for sure.
Oh, easily.
Yeah,
You are right and I am wrong. I would say the majority of this sculpt is new.
right. It's new, but it doesn't warrant a
It
double figure is
yeah,
what somebody put it to me.
it's new, but it doesn't have. I don't need know if it needed to be released like this. It could have just been another update to
Right.
the body. Like I think the butterfly joints look new, the thighs
Yeah.
and the hips look new,
Hmm. And it's a base
forearms,
buck
etc.
too because the webs aren't sculpted, so
Exactly.
it's a blank buck they can reuse.
Yeah.
Had the webs been sculpted in, I would have been a little bit more, advocating for it and saying, okay, yep, makes sense. They can't reuse it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
If it was somebody with a cloth wired cape, I would have said, okay, yep, different. They haven't done it before, blah, blah, blah. But someone came up with the point that the multi-posable Black Widow, the superposable Black
Hmm.
Widow that came out, had like three less accessories
Yeah.
and was still $30. And that's a really good point that I didn't think about
It's
because very articulated,
mhm.
ton of accessories, same kind of layout. But because it's Spider-Man, it feels like we're paying a Spidey tax, which makes sense,
100%.
you
Yeah, I
know?
think so.
Yeah, but it's still sold out. So even though people bitched, it's still sold out. The only thing I thought was interesting was it sold out on Hasbro Pulse way beyond and way before anyone else, which is very skeptical because they're the ones releasing it. You would think they would have the largest stock.
Right?
Yeah, so people think it's a play by Hasbro for FOMO. And I kind of agree because guaranteed, like people are saying, when this thing drops, all of a sudden Hasbro's going to have a ton more in
Hmm.
stock that go up on their site. And that's kind of
Uh,
duplicitous
yeah, I
the way
agree.
that is. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. It honestly better be an amazing, amazing figure because their whole maximum line rests on it. If it flops, people won't buy the next one.
No,
You
they
know what I
won't.
mean?
They
Yeah,
won't. And you're right. Like it's I think had if this had been the first Spider-Man we'd gotten like this in a long time,
exactly.
but we've had Spider-Man on this body
Hmm.
since the retro Spider-Man, which is what, 2018,
2020. No,
2020,
2020. Yep.
2020. It seems so far away. But since
I
then you've
know.
had the retro Spider-Man, you've had Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man,
Renew
you've
your
got
vows.
Renew. I mean, all right, so technically Renew Your Vows and the retro are the closest to this.
Right. Exactly.
But then you've also got the ones on the teenager body too that have come out.
Hmm.
There's been a vast number of Spider-Man on this, including the Ben Reilly versions
Exactly.
on similar bodies over the last 5 years. And if you've picked up enough of those, then you've probably got most of the accessories that come with this, other than
Yeah.
the like
Web
the
shooters and the spider sense are
yeah,
pretty much the only new things. You're right.
exactly.
Right.
And it's it's just one of those things where there's not enough. Oh, and some of the actual web effects, I think maybe, and the web shooting hands.
Right. But those,
But
when you look at it, you're like, okay, does it warrant the price of an entire figure? Like, are
exactly
those enough accessories in accessory pack without the
that
figure that you could
yeah,
charge that? No, they're not.
no, I don't think so. Like I don't think you've got enough. You have, yes, you have a couple of extra hands.
Right.
You have a lot of stuff.
You do. You do have a lot of
Is
stuff.
it again? Is it worth the $50. For a
It
Marvel
depends.
Legend, and sorry, so for a Marvel Legend, it's probably only about $5 more than it would have been, I think, a few years ago.
Right. Agreed.
So it's not out of the price range of a Marvel Legend, and for what you get these days,
Hmm.
it's pretty good. Again,
Yeah.
comparing it to the Jada toys, it
It
the
doesn't
value's not there.
compute. Yeah, I know. I agree with that. And that's a good argument. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's a great argument. But now, speaking of Jada, we can go to Storm Collectibles for $2 more. If you've seen the Storm Arena Street Fighter figures, have you seen those?
I have.
Incredible. $2 more.
Yeah,
Those are nuts.
like
S-
it's
You know?
clearly someone is realizing that, hey, there's a great value
Hmm.
in people paying less than $30
Right.
for the less than $30 is the sweet spot for a lot of adult collectors, clearly.
Exactly. For anything mass market, at
Yeah.
least. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
And so you have Ken, I think is one of the ones that was announced.
Yeah, it's
And
Ken Ryu. The third one is going to be who is it? I think no, it's not Zangief. Is it Zangief? No, it's Dalsum.
that
So
makes sense.
the third one will be Dalsum. Um, Charlie is one of the five that will be announced. Dan, I think, is the other one. I'm not too familiar with Dan. And then I think Vega might be the last one.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see
Which,
that.
you get Ken and Ryu, they're the mainstays. And then you do different characters than what Jade is doing, which would be the smart bet. You know what I
I
mean?
agree.
So,
And I think that it makes sense. Like these two lines are clearly, I think, for a lot of people going to be complementary.
right, correct.
And I have no issue with that. Like I have no
No,
issue if I could find those and it's, oh hey, I have young Ryu and the the Storm Ryu probably looks a bit better than the Jada Ryu because that was one of the first ones they did.
right.
I prefer the Jada Ken to the
The
Storm
Storm
Ken.
Ken? Really? I like
Ju-
the Storm Ken.
I prefer the Jada Ken head. Now
Okay, I get that.
now you do have like additional articulation in the feet. There's a little bit more in the feet, etc.
Right.
And I think that's fantastic. I think there's at least one more hand, maybe a couple more hands.
They're both
Yeah,
very
yeah. So you get an additional
complimentary,
pair of hand. Yeah, exactly.
you know?
And that's the main thing is that ultimately at the end of the day, it's figures that will complement each other and won't look out of place next to each other.
Right. Exactly. You
So
can build out your, Street Fighter universe with them and mix and
exactly.
match. But the thing it proves is that this can be done for under $30 or very close to $30 with ease.
Hmm.
So there's no excuse when, billion-dollar corporations come
The
back with, we can't do this. Yes, you can.
the
You choose
only
not to.
reason I think that they quote struggle is because of the licensing fees.
What,
That's
with Marvel?
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of is that they struggle because of the licensing fees.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that, but not enough. Like, I
Yeah.
think that excuse is starting to go to the wayside because you got to remember a lot of the stuff they're putting out is comic book stuff.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's not.
licensing through Disney. I know what you mean, like the IP license.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just the Marvel tax.
Yeah, I mean, but does that account for that much?
I don't know.
You know,
I really don't know. Like I'd love to talk to someone that has that idea or
I know we
actually
need
knows.
somebody who actually is in like toy production to come on sometime and give us the ABCs of this.
There's got. I'm sure we know someone.
I
This is
know.
guys. This isn't us hinting at anyone. This is just us
No, no,
talking
no. We're just
out loud.
spitballing.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
we're not trying to build a future guest up by having this
No.
conversation. It's like, do we know someone? And then the next week,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
right, like that. If we had that
exactly.
ability, we would do it. We're just thinking we've got to know someone who knows
I
someone.
mean, we love toys. That's the bottom line. But I'll be honest, I'm buying less. I'm less inclined to buy more anymore because I'm kind of fatigued unless it's something I absolutely have been clamoring for. I'll pass it on the shelf a couple times,
Hmm.
and then I'll be like, "All right, maybe I'll get it."
I I've largely stopped getting Masterverse stuff because of,
Oh,
again,
I'm done with that line.
like
Like,
it's
I'm
a
done.
space thing for me, but there hasn't been
Yeah.
anything out that I was really exciting me. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine with that. Like I'll keep an eye on it. If there's one or two of the
Yeah.
characters that I really want, I'll dip back in, but I'm not breaking my neck to get a hold of any of them.
No, I agree the same thing. And like with Marvel Legends, I've scaled back big time. Like I want the Nemesis bath, but I'm
Hmm.
almost kind of like, you know what? Do I want it enough to have four figures I don't want? Like, is it that big of a deal?
Yeah, which figures are there that you
I
don't
don't
want?
I don't want Husk. I
Hmm.
don't want the Wolverine. Um,
The Wolverine at least doesn't have a bath piece in it.
right. No, I just don't want it. I'm
Yeah,
like, I'll wait till an actual Ultimate Wolverine. Like I want Cyclops, I want Marrow, and then who else is in it? I forget.
Gambit.
Yeah, see, I don't want that Gambit. He's too plasticky, even though I would love a representation of that Gambit. That
That
one's
that
not for
specific
me.
one doesn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when they put out the AOA Cyclops, that thing was like an ultimate disappointment. So like
Hmm.
it feels the same. So I'll skip it. And then who else is there? Oh, the Nightcrawler. My Nightcrawler is the 616, regular red and blue.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do I really want all these for a cool bath that most likely is going to go in a plastic bag in a tote after a
After.
couple days? I'm like, I
eh,
don't know.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, there's definitely part of that line that I want,
Yeah, of course.
and there are bits that I'm like, if I don't need it, I don't need it.
Yeah.
And then at that
Like,
point, I'm like, well, I don't necessarily have to have
hmm
Nemesis as a representation on my shelf. If it doesn't come through and I don't find the pieces through the
right.
years, that's fine. I don't mind that.
And they'll most likely down the road, which was what they do, re-release it as a deluxe at some point with a new paint deco anyway,
Exactly. And
you
I
know?
think that's something that hasn't, or we haven't really whined about that much, because we've always said that, hey, I'm happy if they release a figure that I spent the energy to find a bath for as a deluxe. I
hmm
don't mind because it means that more people can get access to it.
Right, like
The
Venom Pool.
Exactly. Now, the
hmm
one downside I will say I've noticed is that, just like you said, well, I don't really want most of the figures in this wave. I'll get
Yeah,
what I want, and I'll just wait for them to release the inevitable deluxe of Nemesis down the road.
exactly.
Because it's happened enough now that we're expecting it to happen again.
Yeah,
Whether it
they
does or
will.
not, yeah, exactly. I fully expect them to release Nemesis down the road as a deluxe, and I'm again totally fine with that. But
Agreed.
that's probably where I'll be picking him up.
On the other side of the coin, though, it just clicked in my head. Like, I will give Hasbro credit for not re-releasing any of the HasLab pack-in figures because they have not re-released any of them
I
at
am
all.
genuinely shocked at that,
Me too.
especially when it comes to the Sentinels from the Sentinel.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
sound if you're not a toy fan, you don't know what I'm talking about. The Sentinels from the Sentinel sounds like such a stupid sentence,
But it's
but
not. It makes
it's
perfect
not,
sense.
because no, exactly, and it's because with the 2 foot plus Sentinel, they release little 6 inch
hmm
other other Sentinels, the later version, which are more human size.
Right.
They haven't come back out in a toy line yet. I'm
They
sure they
will,
will.
but they won't be the same. I'm
No,
confident in that.
no, I agree. I think there'll be different versions of them, like a later version or an earlier version. They're not going to release the same ones for the very
Right.
reason you said, is that was part of of that HasLab's promotion, was that they wouldn't re-release.
Right. And that's a good policy for them to have because
Hmm.
it keeps the like premium part of you investing in the HasLab protected. Like
Agreed.
it doesn't cheapen it, you know?
And I'm saying that as someone who wants those figures and
Right.
didn't back the HasLab. Like I think it's good that they haven't re-released them somehow, some way yet. I think the longer
Agreed.
they wait, the better it's going to be.
Right. I mean, but
It,
they've claimed they'll never do it. Like I thought we would see a Nova by now or a Morgue by now from Galactus. Nowhere.
I think we'll see it in a couple of years once the Fantastic Four toys start to ramp back up again.
Yeah, that could be.
I don't think it's going to be the same one that was released. I think it will be a same sculpt but slightly
Right,
different
right.
paint job.
Different deco.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
exactly.
has to be something that differentiates
Yeah.
because
And it has to be less than what was released, I
yes,
think.
agreed. Agreed. Although it's funny because G.I. Joe did the opposite with the Hiss tank. You got the Cobra Commander, which everyone wanted on the retro card, which was great. But then this new retro Cobra Commander that they released late last year is a far superior Cobra Commander. Like he has chrome face and everything that you wanted on the HasLab. So sometimes they go
Hilarious.
backwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
I wonder if that Cobra Commander was like, oh, we'll add this one in, and they don't think about it. Then they have the sculpt and like, should have done it like this.
well, they couldn't like I stick with them on re-releasing Cobra Commander and that getup because you can't hold that behind a paywall forever. It's a
No,
main character. You know what I mean? So I get that, but it's funny that the HasLab one is the inferior one. Like it has the worst deco. The new one for mass market is so much better. Like it's one of my favorite figures. It's unbelievable.
that again, I 100% agree with you on everything you said with that. There's no way you can keep that behind that paywall, that
No,
limited time paywall.
no,
I'm just surprised that it's a superior version to what was released.
agreed. So with that being said, I think we can move on from Maximum Spidey. I'm still gonna get it. I'm still, hopeful for it. But, Hasbro did have a stream earlier this
Mhm.
week, and ironically, it was all new Spidey figures, all of them. Now, none of them are on the maximum buck, but they're like, I'm sitting there going, okay, I get it because you have to cater to video game people too. And I like that they understand that. But you just pushed maximum Spidey. Now you're giving us a ton more Spidey. Like it just seems kind of tone deaf and just like, okay, you're giving us this perfect Spidey, so to speak. We're going backwards now. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't disagree. Like now,
Yeah.
the so for the reveals themselves, I think for the most part were successful. I think for the
Yeah.
most
The
part they were pretty good.
Kingpin, amazing. The
Yeah.
Venom looks great. There's only two in the actual wave that I like out of the six,
Okay.
which is the symbiote Spidey with like the living like tendrils on it. It has the more,
Yes.
living
Yeah.
exterior. And then the I guess it's the anti venom in like this like pearl blue that's with the
Yeah.
shine.
That
I like that.
I don't dislike it. It just weirds me out that it's not white
White.
because in again like in the game, I am
Hmm.
relatively positive. It's been a while since I've played it.
He's white,
That
right?
it was white. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I didn't know if this was like a special skin because we all know I don't finish games. So I don't know. But I was like, wouldn't anti venom be white? I mean, this thing's cool. I love the paint, the shiny paint on it. But I'm like, why is it blue anti-venom? Is it a nod to Capcom? Like, I don't know what it is.
I don't know. Like I genuinely don't know why it's blue. It
Yeah.
it makes no sense to me. I'm sure it makes sense to someone, but
Yeah,
the fact that it's blue throws me off.
exactly. I mean, it's cool. It
Yep.
caught my eye. It did what it was supposed to do. But the other thing I thought too, anybody who complains that McFarlane puts out way too much Batman, this is the complete hypocrisy because they
Hmm.
gave you a wave, literally, of nothing but Spider-Man except for Black Cat. Every figure is Spidey. So like you cannot be like, oh, they put out so much Batman, it's ridiculous. It's like, hello.
Like,
It's a whole wave of Spidey,
yeah,
you
it's
know?
the entire wave is Spider-Man.
Exactly. I mean, they're cool variants and all, but like there's nothing besides Spider-Man in the wave, which I just find kind of funny, in
Agreed.
all honesty. So
So you've got this anti-venom and symbiote Spider-Man that we've talked about.
correct.
You've also got then there's like two different versions of
Soft
Miles
agreed.
Morales,
Which I
right? Like,
don't care for either of them,
yeah, so
honestly.
you have Miles Morales in his upgraded Spider-Man suit,
Yeah.
and then you have the America Spider-Man suit, the Captain
Yeah.
America version. Again, like they're fine figures. They're not ones that I'm going to rush out to grab,
No.
but I get why they're there.
Hmm.
There was like a 10-inch Venom,
Which is great. That makes
which is
sense.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I've seen images of Spirit Spider, so Spider-Man Ghost Rider, which
Yeah, he was the first one that they revealed on the stream. He honestly, like, he looks okay. I
yeah,
don't know. Something about
it,
it doesn't grab me with
it
that
look
design.
looks
It's
he looks
strange.
interesting.
Yeah.
What'll happen, and rather like whether I get him or not, I'm not sure. But I haven't seen enough about him
Yeah.
to rush into to getting him yet.
Purchasing it.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like, is he in the game or is it just
yeah.
something they threw in?
It's a
Okay.
skin. It's a skin.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I mean, the Kingpin, he looks amazing. He looks like he can double as a 616, like a more
Yep.
modern day.
I've
Like I
I've
said, the
seen
Venom
people
looks great too.
I've seen people complaining that he's too comic accurate. He's not game accurate enough. The body build is slightly different.
He looks
I
game accurate to me.
the colors look game accurate, and
Yeah,
honestly, frankly, if him being more comic accurate is more my speed anyway, because I'm more likely
right.
to pick him up. And even if I don't use him as Kingpin, that's a large large suited
Yeah,
body with a
it
black suit as opposed to the other one that Kingpin has, which I think is
correct.
fantastic.
Sorry
But
about the dog.
oh no, that's fine. It's just one of those things where hey, there's more options for people.
Right, agreed. Especially for people who missed out on those retro cards. Like you
Exactly.
can use this, it's more versatile, it's more up to date, more contemporary. You can use it for different things. So I have
Hmm.
no issue with it.
No.
It's also good that, like everything isn't 100% just, a Spider-Man colorway. You're
Yep.
getting supporting characters, which I'm fine with. I
Mhm.
would have thought they'd give us like a Peter Parker to go with that, though. That would have been good.
That would have been good. Yeah, I agree. Um,
So,
I'm obviously happy for the X Force reveals. We knew they were
yeah,
coming.
that looks good.
Yeah, the Laura and Warpath, and it makes sense to have those come re-release Warpath and Laura, given that Nightcrawler is coming around. I think at
Right.
that point, all you're waiting for then is
Archangel,
Archangel.
which is automatically a given at this point with
Exactly. At
those.
this, yeah, no, at this point, I fully expect it'll be a new sculpt, and I fully expect that they'll just reuse it for the purple Archangel again down the road to update that one.
Purple
The, you have the Archangel when he was on, he was Apocalypse's
Apocalypse.
Herald.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they'll reuse the sculpt for that because it's basically the same sculpt. It's just
Oh, you mean like redo the old retro one from like,
yes,
yeah, okay, that
yeah,
makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I get what you're saying. Oh my god, this dog is being a pain. I'm wicked sorry. But
No worries.
yeah,
My
no,
cat,
the
my cat's been
Warpath
trying to
looks
play
good.
fetch with me for the last 2 minutes.
Well, play fetch, because that's a weird thing.
He will bring his toy upstairs, drop it at my feet, cry, asks me to throw it down. So I throw it down the hallway. He picks it up,
Yeah.
runs it back. Same thing over and over and over again. He
Yeah, your cat is like very weird
he
compared to normal cats.
yeah, he's very we think he's dumb. I actually think he's a lot smarter than he lets
I
on.
think
He's
he's
currently
very
laying on
smart.
his he's currently laying on his back next to his toy now, like
All right, hold on.
completely flat on his back.
Yeah. That's Walter, right?
Yep. He
Yeah.
he we never tried to teach him to play fetch, by the way. He just picked it
He
up
just knew.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's at least a very entertaining cat.
100% entertaining.
Yeah. So, I mean, where do you stand on the wave? Are you grabbing any?
I think so of this of the wave itself,
Yeah.
probably not. Like, and I
See,
say the wave itself because of the six, you've got the five Spider-Man and Black Cat.
yeah.
None of them really do it for me. Like, I don't really have any interest in the Gamerverse versions.
Right.
If I find them cheap enough, yes. If I can get them cheap enough, absolutely, yeah, I'll
Yeah, agreed.
consider it. Um,
But
but
they're not like
if not, I'm not.
must-haves.
No, exactly. They're not must-haves.
Yeah.
The 10-inch Venom, again, like fantastic figure,
Yeah.
isn't a must-have for me. I will
See,
be getting the X-Force, and I'll probably be getting the Spirit Spider if that one if I find that one.
really, that's the
I
one you
just
want?
yeah, ironically, I like that was one of the skins I used all the time in the game. So because I used it all the time, I'm like, oh, I like that one. Yeah, I'll get that, and it looks smooth enough, like no additional sculpting details that need to worry about it not fitting into a comic display.
Yeah, it's a very plain buck.
Ooh,
So it can, definitely be shoehorned into other displays easily.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't like the design. For me, it's
No,
just, I don't know, it's too plain. Like
yeah.
just not interesting enough.
No, that's fair. Like I think honestly in the game it's even plainer.
Right.
They've added the paint to the arms and legs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the head is nice.
yeah.
I do dig the head, it's not like a Ghost Rider head. So you couldn't technically use it on Ghost Rider because it's way too different.
Yeah,
Like,
agreed.
yeah, the flame is much more different. I mean, isn't that a Spider-Man 1 skin, if
Yeah, I
I'm correct?
think it was in Spider-Man 2 as well.
Well, the only reason I ask is because Kingpin was the villain or one of the villains in Spider-Man 1.
Mm-hmm.
He's not in Spider-Man 2, right? Craven and Venom are.
Raven and Venom, yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like
Again,
they're trying to do like a
some of these
whole
figures are
gamerverse.
yeah, some of them are so late.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if like this Kingpin I assume is just a complete reissue of the Builder figure in a different color.
No, it's not. It's a completely new sculpt. Like
Right.
that was the thing. It's skinnier than the actual Kingpin that
Oh,
they
right.
released before. Yeah. And they
Didn't
made
know that.
sure too, which I think is good
Hmm.
because, it differentiates it. It's a more modern Kingpin that you can use
Right.
with Daredevil
Yeah,
instead
yeah,
of,
makes sense.
yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
It's funny. Like Kingpin, I am more inclined to pick up as well.
Same. He's an automatic for
Yeah.
me. Him and Venom are both automatic. And then,
Hmm.
like I said, the anti-Venom Spidey caught my eye. It's interesting enough, so I'll probably grab that. But well, I might grab the Black Cat too because I do need a decent Black Cat, and we really haven't had one
We
yet.
haven't had one in years. We haven't had a
Yeah,
black cat in years. And
yeah, since the retro.
yeah.
So she's overdue, and
Hmm.
she honestly looks like the ultimate version of
She
Black
does.
Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of sings to me, but other than that, it's mostly a pass, which is nice because I don't want to buy everything that comes out. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
And
I
they
there
should cater to everybody, which I thought was cool. For the people complaining, it's like, yeah, There are
But
gamerverse people out there. Why wouldn't you cater to them too?
well, that's just it. Like there are people that out there that want every possible version of Spider-Man.
Right.
I definitely want a few, but I don't
Yeah.
need that many.
Same. I agree. You know, like if it was a
Yep.
Wolverine game wave, I'm pretty sure you'd be in for
Most of it.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because that's your jam.
And that's just it. So like this one isn't my jam, but that doesn't mean it's not everyone's jam. And
Yeah.
frankly, Spider-Man sells. Miles Morales is really popular again right now. So
100%.
capitalize on that, right? Like you've got a
Yeah.
bunch of people that want more Miles Morales. You've got people that want more Spider-Man. Some of these are cool looking suits, like the the Miles Morales Brooklyn suit. It looks really interesting. I, that's the one I'd be more inclined to pick up than any of the others.
See, that's the one I hate. Like, I just don't like the design.
And
It
so
just looks weird.
yeah, no, I understand that. And ironically enough, that's why I'm more inclined to pick it up. Oh,
Right.
maybe the anti-venom because that's also looking at it. That's on one of the comic books.
Yeah. See, the anti-venom grabs me because I like the paint job looks
Yeah.
incredible. It's different, you know?
Yep.
So it intrigues me.
So the other three, the two Gameverse Miles Morales ones, the America suit, and then his
Yeah, I
upgraded
don't like
advanced suit.
that one
I
at all.
I'm not likely to get those because of the texture,
Right.
which is I realized pedantic. And likewise for the Spider-Man, the symbiote Spider-Man, I'm
Hmm.
not likely to get that one again, not only because of the texture, but because it doesn't do anything for me that the black suit Spider-Man I have
Right.
doesn't already do. And if it means I don't have to spend money on another version of Spider-Man, then I'm
Hmm.
going to be happy with that.
Agreed.
The anti-venom Spider-Man genuinely looks interesting once I zoom in and look at some of the detail on it.
Yeah, it looks completely different than
Yeah,
everything they have out there right now.
exactly.
Which, you know, the ironic thing is, though, going in off the bat, we know these are all going to be under articulated compared to the maximum Spidey,
Yep.
which is why I kind of think, even though this is a cool idea, it could have been pushed like 3 or 4 months and something else before it because it's just way too close to something that's going to release that's going to be superior to what you're getting here.
You could have done they could have words, Alex. They could have released instead of the five Gameverse Spider-Man,
Hmm.
Felicia Hardy in a as a Gameverse figure.
Right.
Then you can add in a bunch of other stuff that is coming up. Maybe a Fantastic Four villain or something to
Yeah.
tie into the movie coming. Maybe there's some kind of comic version of a villain in the new Captain America movie that
Oh, there
recently
isn't.
came out. Okay,
No.
fair enough. I haven't seen it, so I have no idea. It's not that I don't want to see it. I fully intend to. But
So it's worth seeing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, it's the third best Cap movie. I put it above the first Avenger. To me, that's the worst one out of all four. Even though a lot of people love First Avenger, to me it just you know, there's parts I love, but overall it's kind of hokey in tone for the MCU.
yeah,
But yeah, so like and you know, Winter Soldier is a masterpiece. It's right up there with the very, very top of the MCU for me.
hmm
Civil War was really, really good as well. This is under both of those, but above First Avenger. It's above Doctor Strange 2. It's above Quantum Mania. It's above Ant-Man 2. Um, what else came out? Oh, it's above the Marvels. It's above Eternals. Um, I'm trying to think what else. It's is it above Black Widow? I enjoyed Black Widow a lot, but in retrospect, I enjoyed it because it was like the only Marvel thing we got at that
I
time in the theater.
I
So I
have
think this is better.
Yeah, I have complicated views about Black Widow
Yeah,
because of when it came out.
right.
I think I enjoyed it a lot more than I would have had it come out, you know,
Oh, prior to Endgame
prior to,
is what.
no,
Yeah.
not even that. Like specifically the timing because of the pandemic at the time and everything was locked down.
Hmm.
Because of when it came out that way, it was one of the first new entertainment things released
Right.
directly to video or streaming concurrently with the cinema, so that
Hmm.
people in places where everything was locked down could see it.
Yeah. Right.
I Black Widow has a very fun place in my heart.
Same. Me
Does it
too.
mean that, objectively it's as good as some of the other movies?
No,
Absolutely not. But
like it's a time capsule. It's a moment
exactly,
in
like
time. Yeah.
when I watched it, for me it was
Hmm.
at the time one of the best MCU movies that I have seen. And
Same.
I know a lot of that is to do with the fact that I was at home. I had
Hmm.
taken a day off to watch it because it was a
Yeah.
new movie. I wanted to watch it, and I did. And I I sat at home. I enjoyed the shit out of the movie.
Hmm.
I turned off all the light, tried to make it as cinema like as I could for myself
Right.
with what I had, and I had a blast doing that. So what if I look back at or I watch the movie again, will I enjoy it as much? Probably not. Will I
I
ever
mean,
watch
I
the
think
movie
it
again?
holds up
I see.
overall.
This is one of those movies where I'm never going to watch again because I don't want to counteract. Like, I don't want to lose the good feelings
Yeah.
I have for it because of how it came about.
Right. Right. That makes sense. But it's also, speaking of Captain America,
Mm.
it's better than, it was just on the tip of my tongue and I lost it now.
Uh,
Hold on one sec. What else came out? Oh, Wakanda Forever. It's better than that as well.
that's another interesting one as well because the nature of the movie, like losing Chadwick Boseman,
Right.
definitely hobbled the movie because they didn't know what to do with it, I think. And so then you
100%.
had to
Yeah.
completely pivot about how it went. So there's a couple of MCU movies that I refuse to talk badly about, despite me not necessarily enjoying them as much as I could have, or if I
Right.
watched them again, would I enjoy it as much as I did the first time?
Right.
Wakanda Forever is one of those movies that I know if I watch it again, it's never going to be the same.
Well,
Uh,
for me, it just didn't hit the mark. Like everything that they built it up for, what it was supposed to be, what it was supposed to represent, it
yeah,
just never got there.
I don't think it was ever going to get there
No, it
because
wasn't
Black Panther 1 was it
a
came out of
masterpiece.
nowhere and
Yeah,
I did not expect it. I almost said no one expected it, but I'm sure there were some people that expected it to be
agreed.
good. I did not
Agreed.
expect it to be as masterful as it was.
Same.
It it to this day remains, I think. We've talked about this before. I'd really like to do it again, but
Yeah,
our
we're gonna revamp the list. I
yeah, like
agree.
reorder our list and keep a track of it because
Mhm.
I'm really curious to see how the MCU holds up for us.
Yeah, no,
You
I
know,
agree with that.
almost fucking 50, 20 years on, 17 years on.
And I think it's close to,
It's
no, it
close.
can't be
It
20 years, is
first
it?
one came out in '08, right?
Oh, holy shit. Yeah, you're
Because
right.
Iron Man came out in 2008.
You're right. Yeah. So
Ah,
right now it's
me.
17 years. That's crazy to think.
The MCU is almost old enough to drink. In fact, in some countries, it's
It
a year.
can.
It will be
Yeah.
drinking next year. Um,
Wow.
wow.
I think it can drink in Italy right now.
It could drink in the UK in under certain circumstances.
That's fucking crazy to think about. But like, so I mean, we've talked about Falcon and Winter Soldier and what we thought about that, especially me. This is
Yeah.
so much better. Like, I always liked Anthony Mackie. I think he's a good actor. I think he just keeps on getting better. Like the first thing I ever saw him in was 8 Mile against
Mm.
Eminem. But like
Oh
he's just
shit! Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so he's just evolved. But this movie, like you feel he's Captain America. Like to me, I don't feel the absence of Steve Rogers in this
Oh,
because of the
interesting.
way it's handled. But ironically, the movie is about him trying internally to live up to the
I
mantle.
I think it has to be. You have to address that because
Yeah,
Sam, like we as the audience know that Sam is Captain America,
correct.
but he's always going to compare himself to Steve Rogers. And frankly, I don't blame him because Steve
Right,
Rogers is and will always be Captain America. But now that we know the MCU is 17 years old, Chris Evans
right.
can't always be Captain America.
No,
So the torch is going to have to pass. And I think this is a time to address with different characters. Like, can I actually carry this mantle on? Like,
yeah,
will I be able to live up to it?
yeah, no, it's a good conversation to have, which the movie does. But at the same point, like in the comic books, Sam was Cap for quite a spell at one point
He
after
he still
Bucky.
is Cap, isn't he?
Yeah, so like him and Steve are Cap simultaneously, kind of like what they did with, Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne when Bruce first came back until Dick
And
reverted to Nightwing.
then you've
But
got Spider-Man and Spider-Man.
right, but this movie also surprised me with the new Falcon. Even though we saw him in the Disney Plus show, he's really, really fleshed out here. And he's great. Like I
Good.
became a fan of him.
I
I think
completely
he's
forgot he
created
was
for
in the
the
Disney Plus
MCU.
show.
Yeah. Well, because he's not a big part of it. Like he's in it, but he's not a focal point.
Right, that
Here
makes sense.
he's very much, Sam's guy. Like
Yeah.
they're a team. And it's done well. The only thing, like my buddy who went and saw it with me, he didn't like it. He was like, "Eh." I'm like, "Really?" I thought it was entertaining. He's like, the villain sucked. I was like, the villain was good in my eyes, but
Mm.
maybe not for a Captain America movie. Like it
Right.
was strange. You know
Yeah,
what I
fair
mean?
enough. Yeah. I I've got to try and make time to see it. Like I don't know when I'll get to go at this point, but
Yeah,
I'll make time to see it because I really do want to see that one in theater. It's been a long time since I went to a theater to watch a movie.
yeah. I
Like
suggest it. Like
so
it's a good
and
popcorn movie.
yeah, you and I tend to have very similar taste in a lot of
Hmm.
obviously 'cause it's gonna go a long way towards why we're friends. I
Right,
know there
of
are
course.
definitely things that you watch. I'm like that sucked. And like really, I'm like it wasn't for me. So
Yeah.
we're not uh, harmonious and everything,
No.
but we like enough of the same stuff that if you enjoy it, I'm like yeah, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, like the Marvels, you'll never change my mind.
And
That movie was just ugh,
it's
so
and
bad.
no, and that's just it. Like for me, because I'm a big fan of
Ms. Marvel, Kamala
Ms.
Khan.
Marvel, the yeah,
Yeah.
Kamala Khan in the TV show.
Hmm.
I was able to just enjoy what she brought to it as a fan. I thought she was really good.
Yeah.
However, I completely understand why if you're not taken with her, why you wouldn't be into it.
Yeah. And even though neither of us like Eternals, this movie, if you, I guess, if you didn't have Eternals, wouldn't be happening because the whole basis of it is everyone's fighting over a celestial in the ocean. That's like a
Oh, that
remnant.
yeah, I'm kind of happy that's
Yeah.
finally being addressed.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% addressed in this movie. And it also opens the door to the next phase, I guess, of the MCU or where it's going, but it doesn't kick down the door. Like it
It,
starts the conversation. If you're
I
going
think
in looking for something massive, like at a cut scene at the end or anything like crazy, there is a cut scene and it does address stuff, but it's not like mind blowing. Like
yeah.
the plot isn't mind blowing. It's more of a
I
centered movie.
honestly, sometimes you don't need a mind-blowing plot, and
No.
I think my last thought because my throat's starting to go again.
Hmm.
My I think when it comes to the MCU, it has struggled so much when it didn't have a consolidated or
Like a
late
uniform
a
vision.
uniform vision. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you
Agreed.
for each phase. So phase one,
Agreed.
the introduction of the team. Phase two, and Phase 3 we've all known about,
Right.
right up until the end of Endgame. But after that, there hasn't really been any clear delineation between the next phases. Like I think we're in what, Phase 6 right now?
No, we would be
Phase
go.
5,
Oh, you're right. No, because Disney Plus. I mean, when you count all that,
right? Like
I
there's been
think we're still
so
in Phase
much of it.
Five,
There's been
probably
so
towards the end.
yeah. So what was Phase 4? 'Cause I couldn't tell you
Phase
what.
Four was Disney Plus.
Okay, so I couldn't tell you what the actual story was for Phase 4, what the story is for Phase 5. So I'm
Right.
looking forward to getting back to a uniform vision where this is Phase 5. Watch
Hmm.
this for Phase 5. These other shows are also going to be here that aren't necessarily part of Phase 5, but you could enjoy in conjunction with.
Right. So I think like since Thanos, they've struggled so hard because Thanos was this one, destination that
Hmm.
they knew it was an ultimate point. They haven't had that fully since
It,
Thanos. They tried with Kang, but obviously things happened. And
yeah.
even if things didn't happen, Kang wasn't it because you don't introduce the biggest villain of your next arc in an Ant-Man movie. So like they didn't know what they were doing,
No, they
you
didn't.
know, and I think they're hoping that Doom will bring that back around. But Doom's a little way off right now. He's about a year and a half. So
I think
they're
that's
just
fine.
trying to get there, you
Yeah,
know?
I think that's fine. It I think the issue they had is it's never going to happen. But imagine if after finishing The Lord of the Rings, Tolkien writes a sequel with the same characters.
Right, exactly.
It's like, how do you do that? And that was the problem that Kevin Feige faced with after Endgame.
Yeah,
Where do you go from here? Right?
right.
Like
Because
that,
you hit the complete summit of the mountain.
yeah,
Like
like that.
they hit the high point.
That's just it. That would have been the time to bring in the Fantastic Four, the X-Men. I
Agreed.
realized that rights issues would have prevented that, but that's when you right, we've told the Avengers story. Now
Hmm.
we're gonna tell this story for a couple of years, and then
Yeah,
we're gonna pull it back to the Avengers again and have a Galactus level threat.
right. Exactly.
But again, like actors age, right? Like that would have been an ideal thing to do if you had actors that were
We're younger,
were
still.
younger.
Yeah.
Not that like these guys couldn't play that, but I
No, they
think
can.
yeah, at a certain point, it's gonna be you've got to factor in the fact that these are human beings playing a character. They're only going to be able to do it for so long, unless you're going to recast, which I have no
Right.
issue with. Unless you're going to recast, then you're you're up the creek.
Yeah. No, I mean, like you kind of hit the nail on the head. What would have been smart is after Thanos, if they, you had your Disney Plus wave, you had all the other things, but you should have sped up bringing in the Fantastic Four so that Galactus would have been the next Thanos
Hmm.
overall at the
And
end of the day. You know what I
it,
mean?
yeah, I think naming the phase in some ways the phases are good, but having phase 4 and 5 be
Watered
here's the
down
watered
doesn't
down, like
help.
you almost need a phase to be a specific story. So
Correct.
phase 1 through 3 was the
Is
Thanos,
Infinity
beginning, middle,
War.
and end of the
Yeah,
Infinity War.
right.
Then you can have phase 4, 5, and 6 be the
Something
Galactus
else.
War or something,
Yeah,
right? But you don't begin phase 4, like you end phase 3, but you don't begin phase 4 until you're ready for it. You just have other stories. I don't
yeah.
know, like we're at this point we're spitballing, and I don't know how
Well,
much
I
we're
mean,
going to talk about.
you also, like I said, it's a uniform vision,
Yeah.
which is what they lack right now
Hmm.
because you have splintered projects everywhere. They do loosely tie to the overarching, MCU as a whole, but they don't really drive it forward. Like Secret Invasion, honestly, didn't even need it. It had no impact whatsoever overall at the end of the day.
I'll be honest, I never finished Secret
It's
Invasion.
not good. It's honestly not good. Like the first couple episodes was like, all right, and then it just goes off the rails.
Yeah.
So that's part of the problem. And then you have other characters that are like outside the main MCU, but close enough that don't affect it. Like
Moon Knight.
Daredevil, you have Kingpin in the MCU directly interacting with main MCU people, but you don't have Daredevil doing that, which
Mm-hmm.
you should. You know what I mean? So hopefully
Yep.
Born Again, which comes out on my birthday in a week
Ooh,
and a half,
yep.
will, pepper that up and start that conversation, which would be great.
We
But
we're gonna dive into Born Again, I think.
yeah, we're
Once
not
it's
going any
done,
further.
yeah. No, exactly. I'm really looking forward to Born Again.
Oh, same, 100%.
It's probably my most anticipated MC. I think we had this conversation with Matthew. It's one of my one
We
of,
did.
if not my most anticipated MCU projects this year.
Same. So I will let you rest your voice because otherwise, you know how this goes,
Agreed.
and we will reconvene.
Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.